been sort of leaving a few goals on the table, and not. Are we all right there?
Yeah, sorry, I just muted Richard while he was opening whatever package he's opening.
Sorry, I thought I'd muted. I thought
you'd lost me for a sec then. Yeah.
No, he was just interested in whatever post had just arrived.
I am. It's a new pair of trainers, and I thought I was getting away with that. Sorry. I'll mute again and carry on.
Let's see your trainers while he's
thought you'd never asked.
Ah, nice.
Some New Balance 740s. So hopefully they fit. I'm quite bad at knowing.
Try them on. Try them on. Try them on.
Have you got like different size feet or something? Or?
No, I tend to own different trainers. I can go from like some I will be an 8, some I'll be a 9. But then like my Nike Dunks are a 7, and in no other shoe have I been a 7 since I was an 8 or more. These are, I think, absolutely perfect. There you go. They're on my feet.
Yeah, we're doing foot content on the podcast. There we go.
If anybody asks you if they can buy my socks, I'm not saying no to it. Please don't keep that in. My parents listen to this podcast.
This is the Blue Moon Podcast. Coming up, we've got all the news and views from Manchester City's week. It's your club, and this is your show.
A post-Christmas hard-fought victory at Nottingham Forest took Manchester City to 8 wins in a row in all competitions, making this now the longest winning streak in 22 months. That's not such a bad way to finish off the calendar year, where a lot of focus has been on getting the team back together again after a disastrous knock to the confidence at the end of 2024. We'll look back over the game at the City ground shortly, plus we'll also be discussing the character and energy in the team at the moment as they again emerged on the right side of a match where they'd suffered a setback. And since it's our last show of 2025, we welcome back Kieran Murray and KC to discuss the alternative highlights of the first half of the season. And as we get back to our regular Thursday recording schedule next week, it means we'll look ahead to matches with Sunderland, Chelsea and Brighton. Lots to get through then, and everyone's still in that between Christmas and New Year I don't want to do any work void, so let's crack on. I'm David Mooney. With me today I've got 2 City fans. We've got Richard Burns.
Hello, David.
And Dan Burke.
I definitely don't want to do any work. This podcast included.
Excellent. So Dan's here under protest. Richard, are you here under any sort of protest?
I'm here earlier than I would like to have been, given that for the first time in a while I've had a child-free morning. My son has stayed at his grandparents for the evening, so you have ruined my chance of an extreme lie-in. But other than that, but I'm always happy to be here.
Despite that, and as early as we are recording, you have already got up and been to the tip this morning. So was that because you were getting up to do this, or was that because you thought, you know what, I'm going to attack the day?
I can't believe we've opened at such a breakneck pace as my tip trips. Yes, no, it was precisely because I was doing this podcast that I thought I might as well just get up and be productive, and then I can come here and not be productive. So
excellent. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to cut all the crap at the start of the show, even though we've started with your bin, with your bins. We're going to go straight to the Nottingham Forest game, Dan. And Guardiola in the post-match press conference called it a massively 3 points, which is something that I can get on board with. How big was this win, do you think?
Oh, bigly. It was massive, wasn't it? Yeah, bigly and probably a little bit ugly, I would say. Like I don't think City were fantastic. I don't think that the wins recently, even the sort of 3-0s they've been pulling off in recent weeks, have been thoroughly convincing. But I don't think, as long as they keep winning, keep getting the results, it doesn't matter too much what the performances are at this moment in time, or at least, we probably don't feel the need to kind of pore over the nitty-gritty details or pore over the imperfections of the results. They're getting the wins, getting the points on the board. I don't want to say it's the mark of champions because I don't think we're in that phase yet. But I feel that City are in a good place psychologically at the moment. I feel like the celebration of Cherky's goal and the celebrations at the final whistle was a sign of a very happy team, and one that feels like it's on the right track and is making the right progress and is in a bit of a sweet spot in the title race, I would say, really. Like, I don't know if it's the absolutely perfect position you would want to be in, but I think being 2 points off the top with 20 games of the season to go is not a bad position to be in at all. So yeah, pretty good. It was a good win. And I think, I suppose the worry is kind of how long can they keep winning, keep stretching this winning run out, and keep stretching this squad out. But at the moment, I think things are looking pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of that Simpsons meme. If I don't see it, it's not a problem. As Homer drives through the traffic lights, like we keep winning games, so no problems here. We'll carry on. Richard, 3-0 was the scoreline of all 3 Premier League games before this one. I guess, as Dan says, the Forest game kind of told a different story. They really had to dig in to get that. And I think a couple of the squad have said it as well. If they, like last season, when they conceded that equaliser, they'd have drawn that game, maybe even lost it. So where do you feel that this team's at the minute?
I think, it's really encouraging to win a game like that, obviously. But in particularly that journey that City have been on with it, where we've gone through a period where you would bet on City to win any game and being able to assert control over any game. And then, and sort of, I think what happened after the second goal on Saturday, where they got the second goal and then nothing happened. City used to be really good at that. And then last season, for a big chunk of last season, they were awful at that.
They were very good at letting things happen after they'd taken the lead, weren't they?
Yes, yeah. And then I guess the early part of this season, I guess the quite obvious reference point would be the Brighton away game, take the lead, let it slip, and then not be able to get any sort of foothold back in the game. To see this, not just see this one out, but to win it against a team who were, I guess, buoyed somewhat by, I don't know if it goes so far as hostile, but, a crowd who were up on what was a bit of an emotional day for Forest fans as well. Like, there was a lot that went into that game that just made you think, like, these are quite adverse conditions to play in. And City managed to overcome that. I was going to say managed to work with that, which is maybe pushing it a bit too far. I don't think they'd ever quietened the crowd as such. But they just managed to work against it. And you leave those games when you win them, they do feel absolutely massive. And it makes, when you've won it, it almost makes the performance feel somewhat better. And you're quite glad of having to have had a game like that and having had the tough ones and the 3-0s and better are great. But
that's interesting because they weren't great, were they? They didn't play to their scintillating best, but they basically just got the job done to the level that they needed to.
Yeah, and it's just, like I said, it makes it feel better after. Like a point would have been okay on taking the game in itself and knowing that there's still, the game on its own merits and knowing that there's still a long way to go in the title race. A draw would not have been a bad result, but you would have felt like, okay, we had the lead, we've let it slip, couldn't get it going again after that. And instead, they come away with the 3 and they've had to battle for it. And like you say, it really paints that team spirit in a really positive light. You mentioned the celebrations. It wasn't just the players, it was the coaching staff, the way they were celebrating. You could see like the away end, it looked like a great away end to be in for the second goal. It's vibes, isn't it? Like when you think of the start of the season and that, like, 2 defeats quite early on and feeling like the season could quite quickly go nowhere. And all of a sudden you've got a team where, if not for being outright sort of gung-ho brilliant every week, you've got a team where you can look and say, now we know when the chips are down, they can do something, they can dig in and they can get the points. And you need everything over the course of a season. And now we're starting to see a little bit of everything. And it might not yet be absolute vintage City or even close to Guardiola's best City, but it's starting to bear some of the hallmarks, which is hugely encouraging.
Yeah, hallmarks are good for this time of year, is one of the things that I'm taking from that. Dan, obviously after the game, Sean Dyche went ballistic at the officiating. Forest have since complained to PGMOL that the officiating wasn't very good. Am I alone in being a bit stunned by this? Because like the Diaz second yellow card, maybe, yeah, okay, I can get on board with that. Maybe we got away with one there. But O'Reilly on Gibbs White, Diaz and Gvardiol wrestling Jesus, they're just normal things that happen in football games, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like Dyche, like, he's trying to be a bit clever there, but it's a bit too kind of obvious. He's trying to do the sort of Alex Ferguson playbook, isn't he? Of let's deflect attention from, you know, a bad result. They're in not a great position, fourth bottom of the league. They've lost the game. They've lost at home, and he's kind of thinking, let's see if we can kind of like influence the way that next time there's a referee decision that's maybe a little bit 50-50. Let's see if we can kind of influence that and get it in our favour. I just don't think. I think that works if you're Alex Ferguson at peak Manchester United. It doesn't really work if you're Sean Dyche at Nottingham Forest, really. It's a bit too transparent. And I think, the incidents, like, all right, so the Diaz one, I can't get on board with that personally. I think there's a bit of an unhealthy obsession with like dishing out cards in English football and having players sent off. And I think that incident was a coming together. It was accidental. I think the referee has shown a bit of common sense. Like, not every foul has to be a card. And,
no, I get all that. I just think my other side of that is that if that was Haaland running through and the Forest defender had a first yellow card, I'd be thinking, oh, that's probably a second yellow. So I fully accept. Like, some referees will give it, some won't. I'm fine with that. I just think it's one of them when it happened. Without getting too horrible. So, like, over Christmas, like, I clenched when that happened.
Maybe Maya Jama clenched as well, but you know that's a different story, isn't it? And yeah, the O'Reilly one. Like, I never thought I'd say this, but can I hear more from Wayne Rooney, please? Because I thought that was a really good analysis of the situation and was spot on in the way that he's hooked O'Reilly's arm. Gibbs White, he's hooked his leg around him. He's clearly tried to buy a foul there in the same way that, you know, that was part of Forest's tactic on the day, wasn't it? Like, Igor Jesus was just trying to buy fouls or trying to initiate contact or whatever you want to call it for that whole first half. We were bitching about it in our WhatsApp group at half time.
I was going to say, I don't like bringing private WhatsApps into the public arena, but I think both me and you in the group said he's doing my head in with these, barging into defenders and falling over. Yeah. So he's clearly been told to do that, and it's a bit like they've sort of, Gibbs White has tried to do something a bit like that and flown a bit too close to the sun there, and then, you know, he's obviously been able to get back to his feet, perhaps not completely set himself to block the shot, but, you know, the still image that's been going around of him sort of standing up when the shot is coming at him, it wasn't completely like impactful on the goal, I don't think. I think that was a perfectly legitimate goal. So, yeah, I think it's been massively blown out of all proportion, but I think that's exactly what Sean Dyche wanted to do. Yeah. Richard, I mean, like, the thing that I always find with conspiracy theories like this, and like in fairness to the Forest fans, they aren't saying this is City, they're always cheating, it's City's fault. They're saying this is the referee that hates us, which is a very subtle difference.
Some of them are saying City are always cheating as well, by the way.
Okay, I hadn't spotted that, but a lot of the beef is with the referee. But like, in terms of like conspiracies like this, I always find it a bit odd that if the referee did have a conspiracy against Forest, then he could have just shown Jesus a red card for that foul on Foden when he studs clipped his knee, and like everyone would have gone, that's a bit harsh, but yeah, all right, I'll give that as a red. He could have just given Cherki a penalty when he got wiped out in the penalty area after taking a shot, and everyone would have just gone, yeah, that's probably a penalty. Like, he didn't need to manufacture these moments where City have benefited.
Well, no, and that's where conspiracy theories tend to fall down, isn't it? when you start to look at the bits that don't make sense and the bits that you've selected to suit your particular agenda and conspiracy. Yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. I think there's things in there that I think is, if you're in the ground, then you're going to shout for them, and I think it's absolutely legitimate for a home crowd to try and pressure the referee, and to I even think and remember well the feeling of big clubs getting decisions, and I can see why, if you're in the stadium, you shout for that and be aggrieved by it. And to a point, I think it's fine for a manager to come out after. And I think sometimes we forget that a manager's press conference is a bit of a performance and doesn't necessarily reflect what he's then saying in the dressing room or what he's working on the training ground. It's a manager's there to protect his club, and Sean Dyche has certainly put on a bit of a show there. And I think he's just, like Dan said, I mean, he's just gone far too far with it, hasn't he? If he'd come out and said, we feel a bit unlucky with a couple of the decisions, I think that's fine. But it's like it's the smarminess and the the way that he's phrased it, and he's saying to the journalist, "Well, we all know that, don't we? We all know that's a foul. That was a foul." And I mean, he was making rules up. He was saying things were bookable offences in the 80s that were not. Like they've become bookable offences in the last decade or so, and aren't applied regularly. And if you're going to get so pernickety as to say kicking the ball away is always a yellow card, okay, by the rules it is, but so is asking the referee to give a yellow card, which one of his players did and didn't get a booking for it. So,
and then later Ritzy studs down Phil Foden's knee and could have had his second yellow for that. So yeah,
it's fine. I think all in context. I think there's things there that you just say it's part of what watching live football is. You get a bit pissed off about decisions, and you play it up a bit to pressure the referee. And like Dan says, there's probably some forward thinking there from Sean Dyche, but it's a manufactured controversy. It's not a real one.
Yeah. Just looking at the wider picture then, Dan, because obviously City have now won that game. They are, as you say, 2 points behind Arsenal at the top of the table. This is our final show of the year. Where do you assess City are now after 2025? Because I think a lot of our judgment of City is still clouded by that horror show end of 2024. But when you look at the record over the calendar year, in the Premier League only, it's played 37, won 25, drawn 5, lost 7, which if that was basically a season, it's one game short of a season, they'd have 80 points for that. So it's not necessarily title challenging form, but it's not far off.
Yeah, it's not been blistering, has it? But it's sort of got the job done and got them back into a position that I think we all would have been a year ago, for example. We all would have been happy to say that we'd finished 2025 2 points off the top, looking like we might actually win the title this year. I'm still not convinced they actually will, or another major honour like the Champions League. I don't know if City have actually got that in them this season yet, but they're in contention for it. That was the MO at the start of the season, I think, wasn't it, to kind of just get back into contention for these trophies? And you've got to say that City are in a pretty good shape in that respect now. I think they've mostly refreshed the squad over the last 2 transfer windows, but I think the jury's still out on most of the signings. I think it's fair to say, with the exception of probably Cherky and Nico Gonzalez. I think everyone else has got a bit of proving to do, but we'll give them a bit of time and see how that goes. I think they're yet to find the right balance tactically. I think they're still in between 2 ideas at the moment a little bit. There's this sort of, on the one hand, they're trying to be this kind of blistering, attacking, counter-attacking team, and on the other hand, they're trying to do this control thing, and they haven't really worked out how to do both of those things at the same time properly yet. But as I mentioned earlier, when you look at the way that they're celebrating goals and celebrating wins, I think the good vibes are back, and that is possibly the most important thing at this moment in time. Pep seems to be energised and really enjoying his work again. He's been refreshed by new additions to his coaching staff over the summer. And yeah, it just feels like they're in a good place at the moment. And like I sort of mentioned earlier with the title race, I think in a way I don't want City to go top of the league too quickly. It
kind of suits them to be chasing at the moment, doesn't it? Yeah.
I mean, imagine the tortoise had gone ahead halfway through the race. It would have been a very different race, wouldn't it? So, we've got to kind of keep that in mind. And it's just about kind of focusing on performances, trying to get a bit better, which I feel like they are getting better with kind of each passing game at the moment, and just just keeping that pressure on Arsenal is the most important thing. But yeah, I'm immensely more satisfied at this point of the year than I was 12 months ago, for sure.
Yeah. With that record, Richard, played 37, won 25, drawn 5, lost 7, with a game in hand on a 38 game season. They would be second in 24-25, so last season 4 points off the top. They would have been fourth in 23-24, 2 points behind third, and third in 22-23, 4 points behind second. So they'd be well in. They'd be just slightly off the title pace in those seasons, but they'd be well in the mix for the top 4. It would have won the title in 97 over United, in 98 over Arsenal, and 99, 2001, and 2011 all over United. And the game in hand would have given them a shot at winning the title in 93, 96, 2003 and 2016. So it's a record that, while maybe performances haven't been consistent over the course of the calendar year, and while certainly the back end of last season things felt a bit stodgy and they were just kind of getting the job done at various points, it feels like the building blocks are being put in place. Like the back end of last season, they got a little bit more stability and a bit more consistency. Now there's a little bit more flair to it at the start of this season. And as Dan says, they're not there yet, but they're certainly working towards something, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, not to rehash previous points too much, but the nature of the last few wins, and there've been a little bit of variety in how they're winning games now. I think shows that. I think, like Dan said, not convinced yet that they'll win the league, and that's very much where I am too. And maybe not having quite nailed down, or being between two ideas, or not having the right balance yet. We've had very successful seasons where that has been the case at this stage of the year. And famously, the treble season was February, March before they really hit the stride. And they went, was it also February without winning? Was it 4 games in a row or something like that? I forget
the best they've done was 3 in a row.
Which is, when you think of some of the high points totals and some of the winning runs that City put together to win titles, and obviously went on to put a very long unbeaten run together to win the Premier League that year and obviously the treble. Like, the fact that they are on Arsenal's coattails at this point, with Arsenal having had a very good start to the season, and then reflecting on like all of the stats that you've just reeled off, there's every reason to think that City could still yet have a title winning season. It just doesn't feel as... I think that the variable in like the City always do better in the second half of the season thing is this is a very different squad now to the one that did that repeatedly to win successive titles. But there is enough of a remnant of players that have been there, and crucially, there is Pep Guardiola. And we don't know... There's also a history of Arsenal not getting the job done from this kind of position. And I think it was only from listening to you on your other Manchester City David Mooney vehicle, Let Me Talk, that it came back to me that in the treble year, Arsenal had been at 50 points at the halfway mark, and this year they're below that. So for all it seems like maybe this is their best squad or their best shot at it, maybe it's not.
They've been in formidable positions before, yeah. Yeah,
their star striker is suddenly becoming a bit of a big signing up front. And I won't profess to have watched loads of him, but Gyökeres seems to be becoming a bit of a laughingstock and getting a lot of criticism from Arsenal fans and maybe people who watch Arsenal a bit more regularly. And it just starts to, you think of what that picture was in October, November, and then you look at, well, Arsenal play Aston Villa tonight, who've already beaten them. We might be top of the league by the end of New Year's Day, and maybe we won't, but it just feels that there's a lot to credit the idea of City winning the league, I think.
It doesn't take a lot of the minute. You can't
discount Villa as well. That's the thing. Villa are in there at the moment, and that's another variable that we've not had before. Who knows how far they'll push.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot, does it, to imagine the situation changing wildly one way or the other. City could be like we're going to preview 3 games shortly on the show, and like at the end of that, City could be miles off the pace, or they could be miles in front of the pace. There's so much, because it's so tight, so much can swing right now. So we'll get to that shortly.
You see stats pop up all the time about clubs and players, and you want to know that exact thing about City. There's an answer. Statscity.co.uk. Want to find out all of the players who played alongside club legends like David Silva, Sergio Aguero or Vincent Kompany? Or maybe you'd like to know which team found it hardest to score past Joe Hart. You can find out City's record in every competition, at every stadium, and under every manager. Just go to statscity.co.uk and browse away. That's statscity.co.uk. Ad-free episodes are available on Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/Blue Moon Podcast.
It's one of my favourite times of the year. Since the Forest game brought 2025 to a close, it's time to discuss the alternative highlights of the first half of the season. We're taking in August to December, and I spoke to Kieran Murray and KC about a range of mad goings-on. We started with Erling Haaland.
He's just perpetually online, which is a very unique and rare thing for a megastar like Haaland. Between Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, like all the apps, the man just sort of is constantly posting, and it's always good value, very, very entertaining, and he just seems like a young lad having the crack, a bit like ourselves.
Yeah, we'll go back to the start of the season, and I don't know what this was in response to, but he posted a selfie with Matthias Nunes and just said, "Your teeth are offside."
Your teeth are offside. Your teeth are offside. But like offside with about 5 eyes. Your teeth are offside. Who did Nunes score against? Because it was obviously that, wasn't it?
Well, this is the 16th of August, which is just after the Wolves game, isn't it? It's after the opening day of the season.
Right. Yeah, maybe he's just had a lovely selfie with Nunes, and Nunes' teeth are very much on show. But I mean,
he does. I always think Nunes looks like a woodland animal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He could easily build a dam with them chompers.
Yeah. But you think in your head that they're a bad shape, but this picture that I'm looking at right now, they're fine, neat. I mean, we were talking about teeth just before we came on because I got a water flosser for Christmas. But
I'd be quite happy with teeth like that. My teeth are not great. My teeth are not great.
He takes care of them here, but yeah, apparently according to Haaland, they were offside.
We'd all be in the great big book of British smiles, wouldn't we?
Irish smiles over here.
I was going to say, Kieran, how do you feel about being lumped in with the Brits?
Yeah, not great, but I do have a poor set of teeth, so I understand.
I'm not. I wouldn't be happy with being lumped in with the Brits myself, to be fair. But you've got to stay faithful to the Simpsons quotes, haven't you?
I suppose.
Do you remember that Strictly episode where Antoine de Beck was dressed up as Austin Powers?
Yes.
And Craig Revel Horwood said, "And you've even got the teeth," but they were actually Antoine's real teeth. Cheeky as fuck. I would literally never get over that if that was me. Like, it was horrendous.
Yeah. We need to see Matthias Nunes on Strictly to see what happens.
Yeah.
Sticking with Haaland, I want to play you this. This was his accent when he realised that Thomas Tuchel was at the CFA.
Is that Thomas Tuchel?
Speaking of being British, like that's so British thing.
Is that Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah.
What accent is that?
I've seen a few people say he sounds mank there, but he's putting on a Cockney accent there, isn't he?
But it's sort of coming across as a bit of a Mank Scouse hybrid, isn't it?
Do you think so? I think he sounds Cockney. Play it again there, Moons.
Is that Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah, like maybe an Essex white boy kind of thing.
Essex, yeah.
Is that Thomas Tuchel?
Back to teeth again, bringing up Essex.
Casey, he lost a fight with the door to the team bus. He posted his injuries all over social media. Have you lost a fight to anything inanimate like that?
As if I'd ever lose a fight, man. Are you mad? The size of me. I'm an absolute horse of a man.
So's he.
We didn't see the bus, though, did we? So we don't know whether he lost.
Oh, yeah. He might have just been injured by it.
Should have seen the state of the other guy.
I reckon, if he was on the bus where all the Scousers were throwing bottles of Copperberg, I reckon he'd have just headed him away the way he's been performing from corners this year.
I think this was around about the time that he had the really angry player of the match photo after Monaco, Kieran.
Yeah.
Where he looked as if he'd rather be anywhere else after City had drawn 2-2 from being 2-0 up.
Yeah. It's a brilliant photo of that.
But you say angry, I'd say more smouldering.
It is smouldering.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
smouldering.
But it's not smouldering from like the normal kind of model give me smouldering. It's like I am angry about this late draw and this player of the match award doesn't matter to me. Plus I've just got caught on the face by a bus. So his whole world is just falling apart in that photo, smouldering or not.
What he's wearing as well, it looks like he is modelling something. Like it looks like he's modelling a shirt.
But it's a Puma shirt in the picture.
It is a Puma shirt, but I had to go in right close on it because it does look like it looked like, you know, the sort. Do you remember when we first had to start going out and you couldn't get in anywhere unless you wore like, you know, a pair of shit flicker shoes?
Yeah.
And actual proper suit trousers, and lads would have a shirt on like that. Like big...
It's very mid-noughties Irish shirt coded that. get it out of TK Maxx.
Definitely wearing, brown shit flickers and his dad's belt.
Yeah.
Speaking of his dad's clothing, he also showed off his geography teacher look, which it looks. This was on the international break in September, I think it was, where he's wearing like a green kind of woolly waistcoat with a green tie, and then a kind of plaid shirt and flat cap with just a pair of round John Lennon-esque glasses and his hair just flowing down. Absolute geography teacher look. Although I'm going to say, I mean, this is another TV reference now, Casey. Ted and Ralph, Fast Show.
Yeah.
Sir.
I wouldn't know about that, sir.
I don't know about that, sir.
I don't know about that, sir. But to me, he looked a bit like a cartoon dog about to play a round of golf.
Yeah, but the funniest is when people reply to him and then he replies again. So somebody said, I swear this guy taught me geography. And he's just replied with 4 laughing emojis saying, see him. So it's not this guy, it's you, Erling.
He's got another T-shirt in another photo that he's posted where I don't know where he is. It looks like he's at some sort of spa place. But the caption on the T-shirt just says, I'm not doing shit today. And then underneath in small print it says, mission accomplished, with a tick next to it.
Oh, perfect for the time of year we're recording here, isn't it? I don't want to do anything today.
No, I was thinking it's more like those that's like a very mid-noughties, like when your dad would get a £5 T-shirt from Burton with any sort of slogan on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If lost, return to the pub.
So my prediction for him next year with all these naughty looks is that he's going to wear a T-shirt with Rihanna's face on it and a pair of chinos.
Yeah,
that's my prediction for
That's
2026
his look for next year.
Yeah. And a cardigan.
Yeah.
Where do all of these looks rank against each other, Kieran? Because we can't also forget that he was also the Joker for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
One of the greatest reveals on video that video has ever seen.
Oh, it's amazing, yeah. And he went like whole hog. It was proper, why so serious? Want to know how I got these scars? I'll make this pencil disappear. Any other Joker quotes from the film?
I like how you spoke with the intonation of doing an impression without actually making any attempt to do an impression there.
He's also dressed up as Santa Claus this week, but like going whole hog with that as well. He's a man who he sees himself as what he is, which is a very memeable cartoon character. Like, just have a bit of fun and put it out there, and people will still laugh along and like you, and be good at your job on the pitch, and you get away with it all.
Yeah, because I mean, there is so much that he's done in this first half of the season to dig through. There was KC. I mean, just on top of that, just some on the pitch stuff or training stuff. Like, there was the moment in training where he absolutely just wellied the ball at the goal and just shouts "Kolarov!" Like,
do you know what I really like about that though? Because obviously Kolarov had left way before he joined.
Yeah.
So he definitely,
there is a Pep crossover though. Kolarov had the first season under Pep.
Yeah. Kolarov played centre half under Pep, didn't he?
Mm.
But it's obviously he was watching City matches then. A lot of the time, like, people go, "Oh, he wasn't a City fan; he was a Leeds fan or whatever," and all this shit, and say, why would he have signed for City? But he must have been watching us when he was a kid.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Couple of celebrations, Kieran. The robot celebration has really taken off, with others now joining in as well to kind of add fuel to that fire. But him and Foden also shared an apple that was for some reason thrown onto the pitch.
That was very, very bizarre and funny. But I'm sort of watching the video here, and like they kind of, Haaland picks it up, but Foden sort of tries to fight him over it to pick it up. Like they both really saw an opportunity, like, and tried to go for it.
That must have been like right in front of us, Kieran, as well, at the game.
Yeah.
And I have no memory of that whatsoever.
I know. Well, it must have been just limbs all over the shop.
Yeah.
More on the pitch stuff. Kieran, I can't remember if we talked about this. You might have been on the podcast around about this time as well, but after the Real Madrid game, when he just absolutely ragdolled Marco Asensio.
Yeah, incredible. I tweeted about this saying, if this wasn't like for real that you'd seen with your own eyes, it would look like AI slop. Because the way Asensio falls,
nobody
is
can
just
go down that quickly.
I know, it's so unnatural. They're so well trained in the dark arts of diving and falling over and being on the ground, Madrid players. But just once.
What you reckon? They just sat at home watching Norman Wisdom and shit like that.
Yeah. But one strong left arm from Haaland, and he goes down like a sniper's hit him. Like, it's brilliant. I don't know what he's whether he's trying to buy a foul or whatever. I assume that's what he is because the referee's right beside him. But it doesn't do anything other than cast Haaland in further Viking unhuman strength, like robotic terms. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
it's just like godlike strength to push away, to flick away a man.
Do you remember he lifted Bernardo up and somebody tweeted, "That's a grown man." It's just like that, isn't it? Like he's pushed over a grown man as if he was a toddler.
A couple of others, Casey. Did you see the former goalkeeper asking for Haaland's shirt? He went to a City game with a banner that read, "Hey Erling, do you remember 1st of July 2018? SK Brann versus Mulder 0-4. You scored 4 goals against me. Can I have your shirt, please?" That's a lot of context.
But you know, my feeling on this, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Can we please stop encouraging people bringing fucking signs begging for shit? Does my nutting? Do you not think?
Yeah, same.
I've got a small child, and I would never let her beg for, with a sign at the ground. It's just,
I suppose
I find it so cringe. Do you?
Yeah, massively. I would find this cringe as well, only that because he has provided so much context on the shirt, you can kind of let him away. Like he's included the date, the score. He's even done like a little cutout photograph of Haaland on the pitch at that age. Like, so maybe with context provided, you could let him off. I wonder, did he get the shirt?
I hope not, because you don't deserve anything for begging signs.
Yeah.
Sorry to be like a right, miserable bastard at Christmas.
And for being a shit goalkeeper.
Yeah, there is the other side of this, Casey. It's like, come on, you've let 4 goals into one guy. Have some dignity. Yeah.
Why didn't he get his shirt that day?
Yeah, have some dignity about it. Like, oh, I was terrible. Please, can I have your shirt? No, just don't play up to it even more. Just have a bit of dignity about it. And the final one for Erling Haaland, Casey, there was a guy on Twitter called Frederick who tweeted on the 23rd of September 2018. There's this kid that's scoring for fun here in the Norwegian top division, and he's only 18 years old. Remember the name, Erling Braut Haaland. And on the 19th of November this year, Haaland posted a screenshot of that tweet and said, "I remember the name."
Yeah, well, of course, it's on your birth cert, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I thought you'd take that a bit more humour than you did, to be honest.
No. I was trying to inject a bit of humour, man.
Birth cert. I don't think I've ever heard a birth certificate called a birth cert in my life. I don't know why that's tickled me so much. It wasn't the angle I was expecting us to go down with this tweet. Like,
Shall we move away from Haaland and look at? I mean, Guardiola's had quite the season so far as well. Very recently as well. Kind of really putting a few late ones into this. But we'll go back to the start of the season and the question about whether Ederson would be fit for the opening game of the season against Wolves. Let's have a listen to what he said.
Savinho and Ederson, are they travelling tomorrow?
No, Savinho's injured. Sorry, but he's injured from Palermo.
Is it
had a problem? Yeah, a few weeks. He'll be out.
And Ederson is
apparently, yeah.
He's as subtle as a brick, isn't he? Yeah. But it is daft though, isn't it? That like obviously somebody, the club have said you have to say this. Why not just say, "Oh, he's fucking off"? Do you know what I mean?
Because if the deal collapses, then they're stuck with the player that they've told that they've said he's leaving.
It's a load of shite, though, isn't it? Just
he can't play because he might get injured, and that'd scupper the deal as well.
Yeah, but just say that. do you know what I mean? It's just a load of shite, reading between the lines and all that. But yeah, I like the way he deals with that sort of stuff. Rather than just it's towing the party line, but with complete sarcasm and disdain for the party line.
Absolute contempt. Yeah. Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Kieran, he's had some antics on the touchline as well. His hoodie, I think you noticed this. His hoodie has ridiculously long drawstrings.
Yeah, they're almost down to his navel.
He's mad for a game of conkers, isn't he? Absolutely mad for a game of conkers.
they're the longest drawstrings I've ever seen in my life.
Honestly, I can sympathise with him on this because, not to get too kind of really specific about minor irritations I've had this year. I bought new goalkeeper pants a few months ago, and the drawstrings are not.
Wait a minute, goalkeeper pants. Who are you, bloody? That Palace keeper from years ago, Gabba Karai.
Yeah, you play on AstroTurf, you wear keeper pants. I'm sorry, mate. I'm 38 years old. I don't want carpet burns all down my legs.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but what are goalkeeper? Do you not just wear tracky bottoms?
No. They've got padded knees and padded sides.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! This is 2025.
And anyway, the drawstrings on them far too short, and every time because when I undo them to take them off, the drawstring goes inside the elastic area of the.
I hate that.
No,
I hate that.
Hate it.
I hate that. I hate that with swimming shorts when you're on holiday, and like you jump in the pool and you think that's gone back in that, and the drawstring as well.
Yoo-hoo!
So I fully appreciate why Guardiola would want long drawstrings on his hoodie. He kissed the fourth official at the Arsenal game as well, Kieran.
Yeah, if your drawstring does disappear into your trousers or shorts, get a
kiss the fourth official.
No, we're talking off air before we come on about the uses of Bic pen lids to scratch your ear. Also, if you put the
just a little peek behind the curtain there of the Blue Moon Towers.
If you get a pen and a pen lid, and then put the drawstring inside, then put the lid on, you can feed it the whole way around.
All right, I just normally use the end of a paper clip.
What do you mean?
So you can stab the drawstring inside your pants, and you can just feed it along with the end of a paper clip.
All right. Well, any office stationery does the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a number of methods, it turns out.
And if there are your pants splits, just get a stapler out. Yeah.
Should we talk about him in interviews, because he's given a few good answers this season. We'll start with this about the Carabao Cup. Why he loves the Carabao Cup so much.
You do like this competition yourself, don't you? You've talked about that.
Otherwise, you don't win 4 in a row. Impossible. I like the Premier League as well. That's why we won 4 in a row. Well, 6 in 8 years. Yeah, that's why.
I think KC, it's the intonation being exactly the same the second time he says it. I think that's why it's funny.
Yeah. Do you know, like with his behaviour, like, you know, including the fourth official stuff and all these interviews, do you feel like he's ramping up to do something? Because obviously the most mental thing he's done is the Nathan Redmond screaming in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think he's building up to something this year? And if it is going to be his last year, he's going to do something fucking mental, isn't he?
Mm. The intonation of it, though, like, I don't know, both of you are Simpsons men. Were you ever Futurama men?
Yeah, not as much, but yeah,
not as much. So there's an episode where one of the jokes, Farnsworth is on the phone, and he's just like, there's no context to it whatsoever. He's just on the phone, and he says, "To shreds, you say."
Yeah.
How's his wife holding up? To shreds, you say. Oh well, goodbye. And the intonation is exactly the same from Guardiola on. That's why we won it 4 times. Have a listen.
You do like this competition yourself, don't you? You've talked about that.
Otherwise, you don't win 4 in a row. Impossible. I like the Premier League as well. That's why we won 4 in a row. Well, 6 in 8 years. Yeah, that's why.
It's just the way he delivers it exactly the same, and it just reminds me of that Farnsworth quote.
Get a dollop of City nostalgia every Monday. Sign up at patreon.com/Blue Moon Podcast.
There was this from just before Christmas about making sure the players don't overindulge over Christmas.
Yesterday they have weight. Yesterday every player make a weight, you know? And 25 I will be there controlling how many kilos come up. They come fatty.
Just on that last answer, Pep, they were weighed, were they, yesterday?
You know when you have how many kilos you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it.
There's 3 things in that really make me laugh. The first one is like right at the start there, where he's gone for the pronunciation of weight as waith.
Mm.
He's then like whatever they come fatty means. And then when Simon's asked for the clarification, it's that long pause before while he's going, I need a different way to say that they've been weighed. but I don't know how to say that.
Somebody did an AI, didn't they, of Donnarumma on the scales with Foden, Haaland and Diaz watching on while Pep kind of like monitored it. It's very, very clearly AI, but it seemed to go around. And then Donnarumma actually on Instagram used that AI photo, to which Haaland replied, "You can eat now, Donna Kebab Rumma."
Well, Haaland has this running joke on Instagram that he calls Donnarumma, like he just he types out Gianluigi, but in the middle of it just sticks a load of consonants.
Yeah.
Haaland also then on Christmas Day posted a photograph of himself on the scales
with the caption "All good."
That was from after the West Ham game, where he had one of the maddest press conferences he's had, because there was a whole story in the build-up to it about this potentially being Guardiola's last season, and City were looking at their options. And Guardiola obviously didn't take too kindly to it. We're talking about him being subtle before. He was asked about a chat that he was having with Guardiola on the pitch after the West Ham game. And he went and did this.
I just wanted to ask you, talking about you telling the players that, you know, it needs to be more to get over the line. Is that what you were saying to Guardiola at the end on the pitch? You were having a very animated conversation.
Yeah, we talk about how it's Croatia for the holidays. I'm going to see my dad a few days, 94 years old, and after I go to Croatia, some beaches. And that's why I ask where I have to go. Do you like the answer? Good. It's not true, but it doesn't matter, right?
There we go. There's the payoff.
I had only seen it written down. You see, I didn't know how he was pronouncing Croatia. That's so good.
Just great all-round delivery.
Yeah.
He's been stewing on that story all week, and he's gone, right, at some point, I'm just going to give it both barrels. And like the poor reporter has, like, it's not their story. He's just asking a question in the press conference, and Guardiola's gone, no, I'm doing it now, mate, sorry.
I suppose, like we've talked about his lack of subtlety, but he is highlighting, and I think surely that some of the press must get fed up of it as well. Like there's just too many questions to ask. Like, you know, that they have to ask about nothing quite a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like halftime interviews that have come in. I know I'm just like a moaning git or whatever. It's just like, who gives a shit about a halftime interview? Do you know what I mean?
Well, Ruben Dias didn't when he was interviewed at Forest. He was desperate to get out of there.
That's what I was going to say. He couldn't give a fuck. Nobody at home gives a fuck. Why are we doing this? It just seems
my favourite bit of it, Casey, was when the reporter said to him, what do you think Pep will make of that first half? And he went, I don't know, we'll see.
Exactly.
I've not been in the dressing room yet, I don't know.
It just seems to be content for content's sake nowadays. And it's just, it's slowly ebbing away at the enjoyment of football. There is such a thing as...
Let's not hammer that too much, given what we're currently doing.
No, I know. Do you know what I mean? No, I know, but you know what I mean? Having a crack. No, but I mean, it's just like, sometimes you can have too much of a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously, you know, I'm sure many listeners will disagree, but we're looking for the enjoyment in football here. But I think quite a lot of the times, like, questions and things like that about, you know, absolute, you know, boring shit that, you know, just because you have to ask a question to meet, you know, an editor's fucking quota or whatever. It just seems to be. I think he handles it really well, because at least you actually do get content out of him with it. Whereas, like, you know, some managers just deadpan it straight back and forth, and it's like, who's this actually benefiting?
Yeah, we've done well out of him.
We benefit all the time.
There's still more, Kieran. Going as far like as recent as the Forest game, getting mad with the camera operator for getting in his way of applauding the fans.
Yeah,
like it was pure Guardiola.
And I think he's so aware of what people say about him and think of him. So this kind of like, he only does that to play up to the cameras. He's decided
literally this time.
Literally
he was doing
decided,
it in front of the cameraman.
To the point where it's like, I'm not only going to do it in front of you, but you're getting in my way. So making a meal of that was just dead funny. And it just talking about like KC saying about content and who gets anything out of it, and you saying like we get a lot out of it. It is for the fans. He's sort of started to turn around and realize that I don't know. I'm not saying he's doing it for the memes. But loads of people straight away were yesterday going, we've got new Guardiola memes just dropped, or new Guardiola gifs just dropped. So like straight away, he's become this, and he kind of always was, I suppose. You know, there were lots of kind of brilliant gifs of him at Munich and stuff. You remember he was doing that when Lewandowski scored, like all those kind of ones. So it's just yeah, he's a rich well of content for us to kind of dissect over. But when he's doing it, and it kind of plays up to the caricature that's built of him, and then also the end goal is to show the fans just how much he loves them, and this guy's getting in my way of seeing you, and it's just he just gets it.
If he wasn't the greatest football manager that we'd known, Casey, I'd say he could be a brilliant character comedian.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He'd love a bit of, it wouldn't surprise you to, if he got into a bit of Amdram afterwards. Do you know what I mean? After he hangs up his boots. But yeah, I just thought he dealt with it really well. Whereas, like the likes of Jurgen Klopp would be getting, all the cameramen around him to make sure he got in the old scarf shots and everything like for the crowd, wouldn't it? So I thought it was a good way of dealing with it, showing the difference between the two of them.
Yeah. Let's rattle through some others, because some other people other than Guardiola and Haaland have had a good year as well. Let's start with Bernardo against Arsenal, because he had a bit of a set to with Trossard, which involved, was it Bernardo getting the ball in the bollocks, Kieran?
In the end, it was, yeah. Didn't he? Trossard was sort of down on all fours, kind of, and Bernardo sort of gently rolled the ball in between, sort of the space between his body and the floor, and it kind of bounced into him a little bit. And then Trossard got up and very viciously threw it back at Bernardo, and then Bernardo just hit the deck as if he'd been fucking as if a throwing dagger had hit him, and started grabbing his head. It was great.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, right, so do you know like when Rivaldo did it in the 2002 World Cup against Turkey? It wasn't that, because, right, have you ever, like, on a cold day, have you ever had it where, like, a football literally just flicks, I was going to say your knob, but your groin area, your family jewels, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Where it just gives them the slightest flick, and sometimes that sends an incredible pain right up through your stomach and into your chest. So if that happened to him, I can fully understand the reaction.
But then, a bit later on in the game, after Gabriel had been leaving a bit on City's players, and Bernardo just left one on Gabriel a bit later on. And the only reason this is here is because on our other podcast, Let Me Talk, Sam Lee and me had a right laugh about this. But the way Sam summed up Bernardo's impact on that game, I think it's the most perfect description of anybody ever. So I'm going to play it.
He's the captain, so lead by example and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, okay, that might mean a stupid yellow card for kicking a dickhead. But look, it's football. Sometimes you got to kick a dickhead.
Sometimes a dickhead needs kicking, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and sorry, I don't make the rules.
And it was true. Gabriel needed a kick.
Yeah, dickheads need kicking.
That just immediately put me in mind of when Eden Hazard kicked that ball by.
Sometimes got to kick a dickhead.
Dickheads need kicking.
And Bernardo's also he was trolling Bob on the bench, Casey. This has become a little bit of a meme this season. For players either taking goals off other players or celebrating an own goal. So Bob was celebrating against Burnley, whereas it actually been Esteve that had scored the goal, and Bernardo's going, why is he celebrating? It's an own goal. Why is he celebrating? But then later on, against Sunderland, when Diaz belted one in from range and it took a flick off a Sunderland defender, immediately it was Bernardo and Nunes going, it's an own goal. It's an own goal.
Well, do you know what I really enjoyed about that the first one? Because obviously the Diaz one really made me laugh when I seen that. But the first one, it's like Stones and Bernardo. It's like, because normally them two are the butt of the jokes, aren't they? All the time, and they look like giggly, excited school children going, "We could do something. We could do one over somebody else here. We can get one over somebody else here." Do you know what I mean?
What I loved about that was Bernardo. He said to Rico, I think, he's like almost as if to say, like, you're mates with him, talk to him about this, but he just wouldn't let it go. He's like, he's knee sliding, he's kissing the badge, he's pointing to the sky. He like really, really exaggerated just how much he'd been celebrating.
Now we've mentioned Donnarumma already. I've got a couple down for him as well, because he's had a great start to life at City, Kieran, in the sort of memeable way, because there was like the whole pushing and shoving stuff from corners that's been really in the news this season. Not only has Donnarumma got 4 yellow cards in the Premier League, 5 overall because he's got 1 in the Champions League as well, all for protesting after a goal has been scored past him about some sort of pushing and shoving. When he was doing it back, his defence was, I'm not pushing the forward, I'm only pushing Doku, who was going into the forward.
Brilliant. It's really great. Proper eyes on the referee pointing, look, it's Doku I'm shoving, but he's giving Doku the shove of his life. I don't know how he's managed it. If that was a Sensio, he'd be in the ground buried.
But is it also because he's Italian and has that the real sort of Italian mannerisms when he's doing it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that tennis clip of the Italian tennis player when he loses a point and he becomes the most Italian man that's ever existed. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know, the referees don't seem to enjoy it, do they? The Italian gesticulation and gestures.
You should overlay with his gestures. Just have him. I only consider you scrum compared to Crafty.
And Mamma Mia, I'm only pushing the Doku.
Then his injury against Leeds, Casey, where he quite obviously wasn't injured because Diaz told him to go down, and then Diaz was going, everybody into the bench, come on, everyone into the bench, we need a team talk.
I quite enjoyed it when we do it, but obviously at the same time, it just immediately made me think of how annoyed I was at Arsenal doing it at our place. That makes me irrationally angry. Do you know what I mean? So I do hope we do less than that, but obviously it worked and we came back and won the game anyway, didn't we? So,
but I think the fact that we made such a balls up of it and made it such a big scene just shows we're rubbish at the dark arts. We don't need to do that usually. So one time when you're being a bit cheaty, you make a big obvious kind of show of it. You're the least conspicuous team ever doing this kind of thing. So obviously it suggests we don't do it very often.
Sergio Ramos is just watching that game at home, shaking his head.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but the worst of it is, Kieran, is they did that at 2-1 and then they still went to 2-2 anyway. So it didn't work.
I know.
A couple of others. Jeremy Doku, we've mentioned him already. KC, he got baptised after the Manchester derby, and ever since then has just put all of his good performances down to God. Not Guardiola, not his own self-improvement. It's all been God.
Yeah, he's not. He's not been hitting the gritty either, has he? He's
No.
It's all been going straight upstairs to the big man. But yeah. Well, yeah, if he's found Christ, fair play to him. It's Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah. Were you a fan of Kovacic's new hair, Kieran?
No, because I don't recognise the guy. It was the. Do you know that tweet? It's brilliant. Where somebody's just got Alan Shearer on Match of the Day, and he's got really long, beautiful, luscious brown locks, and they're like, "What if Alan Shearer showed up one weekend on Match of the Day with long, flowing hair? Is there a plan in place for that?" That's what it reminded me of, because Kovacic has just shown up out of nowhere. Nobody recognised him anymore. He sort of floated in and disappeared again, injured, I suppose. And all we've had is this glimpse of somebody that nobody recognises anymore. It's just that's really fried my head, that one.
To me, it's just everyone used to go, how does nobody figure out that Clark Kent is Superman? And it's it's very, very easily done.
Just stick some hair on Kovacic. Nobody knows who he is. Yeah.
I turned up one day to pick my daughter up from school, clean shaven and without my glasses on, and she just did not know who I was whatsoever.
Not sure I'd know who you were, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kieran, Phil Foden scored against Dortmund and then ran to the crowd and took a selfie with the guy. And what I liked about this was it was all really nice and wholesome. And then within about half an hour, the guy had been cancelled because he had a half scarf on.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kicking a dickhead again, isn't it? When City lose the derby? Yeah, City lost the derby last season. You know, the Nunez sort of shit show game. I was coming out of the toilet after the match, and some fella was walking in front of me. And the fella who was walking out in front of me saw this guy with a half and half scarf and just wrenched it off him. Just wrenched it off him and walked on. They are they split opinion,
Not liked,
which
seems.
which is useful for a half and half score. But I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it, where people just they want to be close to the fans, and it would be lovely to get a selfie with Phil Foden. But if you're a bit of a tourist there, maybe who's not fully behind the club, and you're just there to kind of like collect your tokens, and you're on either side of the fandom. It doesn't feel as wholesome and as pure, like. But yeah, it was pretty cool to begin with. But yeah, half an hour later, he got milkshake ducked.
KC, do you know who tweeted this? Apparently Doku dropped his documentary at the Etihad. Me, stuck on a plane with no Wi-Fi. Crying emoji, plane emoji, at Jeremy Doku, hashtag Man City.
Big Quimmy Bang, wasn't it?
Ellie King Mangala.
But I'm delighted that he actually tweets like the famous the famous Quimmy, sorry pal, just not working, no hard feelings, your shit. The fact that he actually tweets like that himself.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. But if you look at his Twitter account, like he tweeted 2 days before that, and then like prior to that, he hadn't tweeted since June. So he just like nipped on, tweeted something out in June, and then tweeted this mad documentary pun about Doku score, and then disappeared off Twitter again. What were you doing? What were you thinking? Like,
the final thing to mention, Kieran, is you yourself are responsible for.
The phone just fell off the desk with shock about what this is going to be.
What you are responsible for. You are responsible for a meme that has made national headlines this week.
Yeah, I am.
Just for the listeners at home, I've never seen a man look so chuffed. Like, he's just
it's one to tell the grandkids, like.
Absolutely beaming with pride as if that tortoise is your baby boy.
It is.
So it's a tortoise that you post every time City win, but or City's rivals drop points, and it's a tortoise with a little smug expression on its face that has the old City badge on from the allegory "The Tortoise and the Hare."
I mean, is there any more explanation needed? Like, Jack Gaughan texted me and asked. Said he was going to write about the tortoise, like, and then did, and then he sent me the sort of like the image of the actual newspaper. Made it, and I had a real difficulty like trying to explain to Rose, my fiance, I was in the national paper, like, where do you begin? How do you frame that story so that like she'll understand and also be slightly impressed? We've got a wedding that we should be planning, and here am I online tweeting pictures of a smug tortoise.
What was Rose's reaction?
She was just like, oh.
just confused. Yeah, just confused contempt.
Yeah, that was it. It was just like, oh, fair play. Like, you know, there's a world that you exist in that I don't really get.
Done.
But fair play. That all started, you know, when it was originally the actual hare and tortoise in the picture. Do you remember the one I used to use?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Liverpool drew 2-2 with Shrewsbury in the COVID season, I think it was. And City were like about 19 points behind Liverpool in the league at this stage. They couldn't drop points, they couldn't lose anything, and they'd drawn with Shrewsbury. So I tweeted a picture of a tortoise crossing the line with a big smile, and then the Liverpool crest, hair in the background, like waving its fist like that. And then as Liverpool weren't always just the only rival, I just changed it to like a smug smiling tortoise with glasses on. And and then as soon as Liverpool or Arsenal or whoever it is City are chasing drop any points, then I mean it was Bournemouth at some points last season in the race for fourth. But there was a day. Do you remember when Arsenal and Liverpool both lost in like 2024?
Yeah.
There was a day that I tweeted after I think Liverpool went first. After they lost, I tweeted it with a like little smile, and in the second defeat later on, I managed to like Photoshop a massive smile on, so it was like 2 follow-up tweets of but no, that was so funny.
I think it was Liverpool at home to Palace, and then Arsenal at home to Brighton, and that put City in control of the title race.
Right, I'm sure it was Villa, because didn't we do Villa a season then by beating
Spurs? It could have been Villa. Yeah, it could have been Villa.
Yeah, so it was amazing. But George McNeil, a good friend of ours who's an Arsenal fan, like he would say every time I do it now, he's like, please stop. Like, please don't do this. Because he remembers it from a couple of seasons ago, and he's like, it gives me PTSD seeing this. And it's the most it's the most innocent, out of context, it's the most innocent like cartoon tortoise. But it seems to have driven a few people up the wall. I find it really funny. Like, but Gaz is suggesting that we get a massive tifo of it. Is just, that would be unreal. Like,
yeah,
that would be like complete.
You know, like when we had the 192 bus,
yeah,
get the tortoise just moving very slowly across the ground.
Yeah. I didn't know that Jack had gone ahead and done it, Mooney, but you put it in our group, the link to his tweet, just saying, what? Capital letters, like. So yeah, when Jack had texted me saying he was going to do it, I didn't tell anybody. Just like, I almost didn't think it was going to happen. I thought it was sort of too good to be true.
It was
like,
such a nice surprise.
It's just amazing. Like, I love City for this sort of shit. Like, and you just do feel like no other clubs get that kind of humour. It's a bit of a piss take, you know, knowing nod and a wink, and I think Pep is starting to get that too. You know, like and Haaland, all these tweets that we're seeing nowadays, it is everybody just sort of like laughing at themselves a little bit. There's always a bit of a knowing wink that sort of summed up a bit of a mad year on the off the pitch stuff. Like.
This is the Blue Moon Podcast, and we're very sorry about that.
The alternative highlights. Now, I knew that we wouldn't have time in today's show to do a full chat with the fans of each of the clubs that we're going to be previewing games with, because it's already a very long show. So I asked for voice notes from some of our regular guests. We'll start with Ant Waterson from Roker Report telling us about Sunderland.
So, yes, once again, New Year's Day, Sunderland at home to Manchester City. It has brought back a few memories, obviously G-Dong 1 and all that, which... thanks to VAR, we'll never see the likes again, which is such a shame. As a Sunderland supporter, I've got to be honest. Looking forward to the game. Obviously, we were unbeaten at home. We had a difficult game against Leeds the other day, and I thought Leeds were excellent in the second half against us. You know, really, really pressed us and stuff, and probably fully deserved the draw. Probably could have got all three, but we were happy to get away with it. Obviously we're the only team in the league, I think, unbeaten at home now. So obviously City will come and they'll have a difficult game. I think, you know, you've seen how difficult it was for them to break Forest down. And I'd argue we've probably got a better defence than Forest, but we do have some injuries. Obviously Dan Ballard missed the Leeds game, and conflicting reports that he may be available, but also may be out for up to 4 weeks. So we'll probably find out on New Year's Day, I think. But, you know, if he's fit, I really do think he can do his best to keep Haaland quiet. I do worry about Ryan Cherky against Dennis and Dennis has only just been back for one game. I think it's, you know, for 2 games in 4 days for him, considering he's been out for a long time. Maybe a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit too much, but I fancy us to play with a 5 at the back, 3 centre halves, 2 probable wing backs, which may allow the midfield. But I think that's probably what we've been doing against teams like Arsenal and stuff. So I can imagine that not be any different. But you know, I'm confident of a good performance. Like I said before, you know, we seem to have a knack of getting New Year's Day results against City, so it could be one of those special moments. I do think City will win the league in the long term. I've got to be honest. I think they're a side that's really hitting form. Side that's coming into their own, obviously with Haaland up front, but you know, you're seeing Foden starting to score goals, Cherky starting to score goals, Rangers is starting to score goals as well. So I think you're in for a hard game. I'm gonna let my heart rule my head on a score prediction, and I'm gonna say we'll pick up a draw. So I'm gonna go for 1-1 and have a really nice New Year. But yeah, I just want to wish all of the Blue Moon podcasters a happy New Year. All the best for 2026. And like I said before, I think this will win the league. So you'll be happy anyway. But as long as we can take 2 points off you, I'm sure you'll claw them back. But yeah, all the best. Thanks very much. Look after yourselves and enjoy the game.
If you enjoy the show, please give it a rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts.
That was Ant Waterson. Dan, 3 games in 6 days after 5 days rest from Forest. Mick McCarthy meme time. He can't go unchanged again, can he?
He can. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think he's got an awful lot of choice at the moment. Depending on maybe players coming back from injury, I think like the only one who I would say was sort of walks straight back in, maybe not, but would be in contention to start a game would be Doku if he came back. I think John Stones, I love the man, but he's just so injury prone at the moment that. And I don't think you want to break up that central defensive partnership that's working so well at the moment. Ake could come in for a game. He's been coming off the bench a lot. But again, I wouldn't want to split up Diaz and Gvardiol. You could maybe see Kusanov coming in at right back to give Nunes a rest. But I think the way that Nunes is playing is quite important at the moment. And he could start Semenyo. I don't know why he would. I don't know what good that would do, really. So it's what choice does he have but to keep playing the same team? Rodri is obviously a bit of a different case in that we need him back ASAP, but also have to be really careful. And I think they don't want to aggravate the injury, but also don't want to throw him into a situation that he isn't ready for. And I kind of thought maybe he'll get 10 minutes against Forest the other day, but the way the game was, it just didn't make sense to throw in a guy who's not going to be fully fit, not going to be fully up to speed into a game like that. So maybe with perhaps sort of the home games coming up, he might look to maybe freshen things up. But I think this Sunderland game, it's got to be same team again, basically.
Yeah. And Sunderland away on New Year's Day, Richard. It gives me PTSD from the 2012 season.
At least there's VAR this time.
At least there's VAR, and that Shidon one goal wouldn't stand. It is a very different era now. It's not the era where City used to go to Sunderland and lose 1-0 every single game. But I'm assuming you're not going to the game, but if you were making the trip up, that'd still be in the back of your mind, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I did. So I'm not going to this one. I was there for the last New Year's Day one, and it was awful. And yeah, I think I was at 3 of those 1-0 defeats. I was at the one where Tevez missed the open net and we got 1-0. Yeah. Like it's there's a lot about Sunderland away that I don't look forward to. And this year, that's really that it's obviously a really hard game. Sunderland are doing
really well,
much better than I think most people expected, and it's your classic difficult place to go. It's like everything about it says City are the better team. City have got the better players, but it doesn't give me loads of extra confidence that they're going to go there and have an easy time of it. I think
that's also probably why I guess, as Dan makes the point, that's probably why you can't tinker with the team for this one, because you you just need to be at your best for this game.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I suppose there's like an element of not to look or to throw forward too far with 3 really big games ahead, but maybe there's an element of that really dig in this week and Pep's sort of classic F you if you're tired, and then Exeter comes the following weekend and rest everybody. I hope not, because I'm taking my son and he's desperate to see Haaland play, but I've managed his expectations that that's probably not going to happen against Exeter.
Haaland's not playing against Exeter, is he?
But yeah, maybe just get through like this one. I think it's fair to expect it's probably going to be a bit of a battle again. And if they come away with 3 points, it'll be a great result. And maybe slightly less battling games on home turf against Brighton and Chelsea. Probably very different types of game to play. So yeah, I agree. It has to be best team. I don't think Semenyo would be the man for Sunderland away, given that every time Pep compliments him, it comes with some horrific insult about his general performance, sort of chips away. It says how good he is, but then it says how bad his dribbling is or how many times he loses the ball or something like that. So, you are saying how good he is whilst demeaning the main part of his game. So yeah.
He'll play against Exeter.
Yeah. So yeah, I think tough game. I think City, they're a better team than Sunderland. They can win it. I won't be shocked if they do. But it's another one of those that I think it could bear some similarities to Forest. That it's just going to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear now from Dan Childs from Son of Chelsea about their recent form.
So Chelsea at the Etihad is not usually a great mix. It's been a pretty bad place for Chelsea over the years. And although Chelsea under Enzo Maresca, I think, do have a capability to rise against a better level of opponent, and that may serve them well. On the road, we've just generally been very, very dreadful. I mean, 2025 was an awful year for us on the road, and I think that's the concern at the moment, along with deficiencies within the squad, frustrations from fans about sort of similar issues under Enzo Maresca himself. Maresca, ironically, of course, being linked to City, and some audible frustrations from him. It just feels like a pretty precarious time for Chelsea season, I think, to be heading to Man City. I'm recording this before the Bournemouth game, which is a must win. I think if Chelsea don't win that game, it then puts even more pressure on this. I think City are just, they look a little bit threatening at the moment, going on one of those long title runs that we've seen so often. I think tactically for me, Chelsea do work a lot better when they come up against an opponent who do attack them, who want to play football against them. So I think from a tactical point of view, it becomes a simpler game for Enzo Maresca. I look at the speed we have in transition, and also the way Maresca may use Malo Gusto as a wing back. He'll move Reece James into central midfield alongside Moises Caicedo. That has been quite a good pairing for us in certain big games. And Enzo Fernandez is pushed forward, and he can be a really, really instrumental player. Having Palmer back is obviously huge at this time of the year, and although he still looks a little bit rusty, I think he also is a player that hopefully starts to rekindle some of that goal scoring form that really defined his first season. I think I've got to go with Man City. I think Man City are just in so much of a better place than Chelsea at the moment, especially away from home. Chelsea just do not start away games properly, so you could see a scenario where Man City take an early lead and Chelsea find it very difficult to recover. I think Chelsea will have strong periods in the game because we are a freakish side. We are a Jekyll and Hyde side that can look atrocious in the first half, look better in the second. And Man City, although they are doing better, have some vulnerabilities at the back and maybe give teams opportunities. It's whether Chelsea can actually take them. So I'm going to go 3-1 Man City. I think that wasn't at the same or similar scoreline to last season. I just see City really going for it and hopefully winning over Arsenal in the title race, because Chelsea, once again, will be nowhere near it. So thanks again, lads, for having me on, and Happy New Year to everyone listening.
This is the Blue Moon Podcast. Listen to it. Drink it in.
Richard, it feels like, as we've just kind of got into, it feels like Chelsea and Brighton are a bit low-key in bad form right now, which, again, the number of games at this time of year, number of games before the next show, it could all change before City come to them. And City, as we've said already, feel like they're in really good spirits. So, with the frequency of the games and the fact that this is the Sunday after the Thursday, is this the point where Ake maybe comes in at left back, where Kusanov maybe comes in at right back? And I know it might change the shape of the team and the way that they're playing, but it almost feels like City are in the point now where of their kind of progress this season, where you can start to do that a little bit, and you can start to rely on moments from individuals like Cherky, like Haaland.
Yeah, I think so. And certainly Brighton looks, in particular, looks like the kind of game where you could do that. I was having a quick look at the form, and 1 win in 5 for Brighton is they're just a team that seem to creep in and out of form without, I can't say without anybody noticing, but certainly without me noticing. There was a point a few weeks ago when they played Villa, and I heard the preview of the game, and it was 4th versus 5th, and I thought, Christ, where's that come from? And now I look again on the 13th with that 1 win in 5, and that 1 win being 5 games ago. City should be winning that kind of game at home. And again, Brighton, they're not a bad team. They're a good team, and they can give City problems. But it is definitely one where if they have to go full throttle against Sunderland, absolute best 11, and be ready to muck in for a full 90 minutes. Brighton, I think you've got to be hoping that's going to be much more City on the front foot, assert their style of play, and there's no reason that they can't do that without bringing in Nathan Ake. Or there's no reason they can't do that when they do bring in Ake or Kusanov or Semenyo. Maybe that is a game that is ripe for Semenyo to play and get running at players who, City are the only team who are playing a lot of games over the Christmas period. Brighton are going to have some tired legs in there as well, and they'll be having to think about their squad management. So it's not just a one-way thing. And maybe, I can't believe I'm saying it, but maybe that is the perfect game to get Semenyo in maybe, I mean, I don't know where we're at with Doku's injury. Maybe that is, if he's ready, you get him on for, one of them for 60, one of them for 30 minutes and rotate that way and hopefully take advantage of the opposition's tired legs. But yeah, I think it's a ripe for rotation, that game.
Yeah, but there could be. I mean, we had an email about this that I was going to save till later, Dan, but there could be another winger in there, eyes emoji.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah. I mean, that's a signing that I am very excited and enthused about. Would love to see him come in ASAP in the window and sort of hit the ground running. But as we've seen with players joining City over the time, it usually takes a bit of an adaptation period. They're usually eased in a little bit by Guardiola, and it takes a little while to kind of get up to speed. And I think the kind of player that Semenyo isn't like, he's not an ideal City player necessarily in the way that we play at the moment. Like he's going to be perhaps quite instrumental in kind of changing the way that we play in the future. But I think there'll be a bit of learning there, and it's a very different kettle of fish from playing for Bournemouth and seeing a lot of the ball as he will, and being sort of tasked with being the main kind of creative and attacking outlet for them, to coming into a City team where you've got to like adapt to this new system. And but yeah, definitely, like if that signing does get over the line, I'd be very excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, another thought as well, and I don't know why this leapt into my head, but it's been a big thing this week that if Semenyo does sign, and he signs kind of pretty much New Year's Day early in the window, his final game for Bournemouth will be tonight, Tuesday evening, against Chelsea, and then his first game for City could be against Chelsea. And there's one other player who I can remember doing that, and that's Benjani, who scored against United for Portsmouth, and then scored against United for City. So if history fancies repeated itself there, then by all means, let's do it. Time for the Brighton point of view as well. Here's Ryan Adsett from Talk Seagulls.
Brighton this season, it's been a weird one, really, really weird one. I said it to you last year that we have a weird way of playing at the moment, and I was trying to be positive at times, but I think we have a bit of a funny thing in the fan base of like positivity and negativity, and you can only be one way or the other. And to me, it's like, well, in negative moments, I'll say the negative things. In positive moments, we'll say the positive things. And that's just kind of how it works. And I think that's kind of where we're at. We are literally so inconsistent. It's right bang in the middle of both of those two things. We have games where we play pretty well. We have games we play terribly. But I'd probably say in recent form, especially in the last few games, it's not been very good at all. We were largely outplayed for the last few games in most of them. For about 75 minutes, we've got this funny way of having 10 minutes of looking all right and then kind of doing nothing else with it. We usually set ourselves too much to do. Like we'll start playing at 2-0 down. You'll kind of think, well, where was that intensity in the first 5 minutes when you've got the opportunity to really, make a game of it? Last season, we got called our transition season. I think this season actually is. I think we are truly going through a bit of a strange time with the squad. A lot of injuries doesn't help. We've been, we haven't got a striker, which doesn't help either. And also this sort of system just doesn't really complement who we've got individually. So I think we're in a point of the season where results are starting to plummet. We'll see where we are by the time we play you guys. But the trajectory at the minute is looking down and not up. And I think we need to try and change that as soon as possible. It will help having Karim Matoma back. He's been a big miss for us. He is by far our best player in terms of just technical ability. He has the opportunity to change games. He makes things happen himself. And he's technically fantastic to watch. I think him coming back will be a huge, huge boost for us. Obviously, it's City's side, who I think are better than before. I think compared to last season, it's a night and day thing. And I'm excited to see kind of what happens with City. I think you're well within the title race, of course. But a very, very tough game for us, especially at the Etihad. We don't tend to do well there. I know we drew last season, but we do tend to struggle up there. I think it'll probably be a City win, in all honesty, but our sort of way of it, we like to raise our game against sides that are better than us. But that's kind of shifted this season. We lost to the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, although we did beat you earlier in the season. So it will be a tough game, but I don't want to come on a City podcast and back a defeat. So I'll say that we're going to draw in optimistic eyes and say it's a 1-1. But I do think you'll have too much for us. I think the quality you've got going forward, I said before, I love Shirky. I think he's a fantastic player. You have the capabilities of taking apart our defence, which has been very leaky this season. We have been in and out of changing centre-backs. We've seen a little bit more of Coppola recently. Van Hecke's been probably our best defender, but Lewis Dunk's been in and out of the team. It will be tough, but all the best for the season. Just not against us, please, because just take it easy. Anything apart from like 5 or 6 would be great.
You're listening to the Blue Moon Podcast. You've made it this far, so don't give up now.
Ryan Adsett there. Dan, it's been, we've said it, they battled so well against Forest. They're probably going to have to battle in a few of these games coming up. It feels now, when you look at the fixture list, it feels like this is kind of like the ripe time to really put the pressure on Arsenal. They've got Villa tonight at home. They then play Bournemouth themselves at Dean Court, or whatever it's Vitality Stadium. Is that the sponsored name? I always think of it as Dean Court because that's what Football Manager always called it. And then they've got Liverpool at home, which is
easy 3 points.
Yeah, they've not been in great form, but it's like it's one of them that it could throw up a strange result. So it feels like the time now is where City go, okay, you want pressure, here's some pressure.
Yeah, I mean, Richard was saying earlier that it could be the case that we are top of the league after this round of games is over. It could also be the case that we're 5 points behind. Obviously, if we lose at Sunderland and Arsenal beat Villa, which I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal did beat Villa at home. I don't think, when I've watched Arsenal play recently, they've been very convincing in the same way that City haven't been particularly convincing, but they are still getting the results. I've seen a few Arsenal fans saying that they've been kind of like a bit wasteful recently. I've been sort of leaving a few goals on the table, and perhaps the sort of score lines and results haven't been a true reflection of how they've been playing either. So I think Arsenal will feel pretty confident about themselves, but I also think that, in the same way that we're going to drop points, they're going to drop points. I think if we were to go 5 points behind, it's obviously with such a long time of the season to go, it's not a fatal blow. It's not something that we'd have to worry overly about. And I think, it's likely that we drop some points in the coming weeks as well. So I think really at this point of the season, at this point of the title race, it's just about focusing on performances and, keep trying to get the wins as we have been doing, but keep trying to improve as well, because I think it's an obvious thing to say, but I think City just need to be better than they are if they're going to win this league. And I think that's going to be the goal for the second half of the season now. It's like, right, let's get better. We're in a good position. Let's capitalise on this now. The title isn't won and lost in December. And I think, if we just keep picking up results and keep playing well, then the rewards will hopefully come, and Arsenal will feel that pressure. But right now, I'm not really looking overly at their results and our results too much, and the gap between us and them at the top of the table, because I think it's not that important at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's baby steps, and I think the message that we keep saying on this show, Richard, and we keep coming back to is it's the vibes thing, and it feels like City are building the vibes behind the scenes, and they can come through these tough challenges. And it means if they do fall at Sunderland, if they do fall against Chelsea or Brighton, it feels like it not necessarily terminal. It feels like they've now got it back again, that they can dust themselves off and go, okay, fallen at that hurdle, but we're going to go again and we're going to build on that. And we did eight wins in a row. It's now time to do 10. Now time to do 12. It's like it's time to just kind of, it's those gradual improvements, I guess.
It's really important. I suppose like the concern that I have, and when I always look at the bigger picture, is there's not many seasons in recent years, if any, where the title winner gets away with losing more than 4 games. Like that seems like when you were reeling off all the years earlier in which City would have been, where City would have been in different seasons. When you were getting into the 90s, I think it used to be, and hopefully this isn't complete false memory, but I think it used to be the norm for a team to lose 6 games or so and still win the league, and maybe 7. There's been years where, in recent years, where it's 2 or 3, and any more than that, and you're absolutely done for. And I'm quite interested to see how that shakes out this season. If City can win it with 4 defeats, would be great. But it does feel like there's probably at least one more defeat between now and the end of May, because that'd be a very, very long time to go unbeaten, even by City standards.
You say that though. When they last won it in 2024, the unbeaten run started at the beginning of December.
But there's a reason that things like that are so exceptional, though, isn't there? And obviously the the common denominator is that it was City who've done it, so why couldn't they do it again? And when they won it in 2019...
It's Guardiola City that does keep doing it, though. That's the thing. It's like, and it's still Guardiola City. As much as it's changed, it's still Guardiola City.
It is, and when they won it in 2019, I well remember City winning the last 14 games, which no team had ever done before, and that sticks in my mind because that would have been the same number that Liverpool would have needed to win it in 2014, and they didn't quite get there. So, yeah, it's doable, but it's just like I said, because then I look at the points, and 2 points behind the leaders with 5 months to go is nothing, and so of course they could. If they were to be 5 points behind, I wouldn't think that was terminal to a title challenge. But it's just that number of defeats. It's just in my head as you don't get away with that number of defeats and still winning the league very often in recent years. But then none of the three teams currently going for the title are as good as the great City or Liverpool teams were. So that's another, this was another variable, which makes you wonder what my point is, and I'm not sure either. But I did start with one. I think we've lost a lot of games for prospective title winners, but they are building, and you just hope that games like Forest show that games like Villa are behind us. Do you know what I mean? And or games like Brighton are behind us, and that is where I take my encouragement from.
Yeah. More encouragement, though, that we won on the charity bet on last week's show. Nick Miller correctly predicted the 2-1 City win at Forest, meaning that we're now on a slightly more respectable £200 for the season so far. That money's going to the Man City Fans Food Bank support group, with William Hill giving us 3 £10 correct score singles to try and raise some more money. Now, the odds for the Brighton game are not out on the William Hill website yet, so we will give you those, or we'll keep across those on social media, but we will go to the Sunderland and Chelsea games first. Let's start with Sunderland. We heard that Ant went for a 1-1 draw. That's 7-1 and £70 if he's right, Dan.
I fancy a squeaky bum time 1-0 win.
Squeaky bum time 1-0. And Richard?
I've gone for a slightly less squeaky bum 2-0 win.
Well, both of those are 13-2, so £65 if either of you are right on that one. That brings us to Chelsea, where Dan went for a 3-1 City win, which is 10-1 and £100. Other Dan, what are you going for?
This Dan also wanted 3-1, but obviously he beat me to it, so I've gone for 2-1 instead.
2-1 is 7-1 and £70. Richard?
And I've gone for a close and very exciting City 3-2 win.
City 3-2 win. When you say very excited, how's that going? Is it like 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2? Or is it 3-0 up to, and then 2-0
down?
2-0 down, 3-2 up, yeah.
We'll let you know after the game.
Excellent. Okay. Well, either way, if it finishes 3-2, 16-1 and £160 if you're right. We can't bring you the odds, as I say, for Brighton, but Ryan went for a 1-1 draw. Dan, what are you having?
2-0 win.
2-0 win. And Richard?
Same margin, 3-1 City win.
3-1 City win. Hopefully one of those will come in, and we will bring you the odds to those on the next show. Remember, you've got to be 18 or over to gamble. Prices can change, and for information on responsible gambling, have a look at gambleaware.org.
This is the Blue Moon Podcast. But don't worry, it'll be over soon.
Now, this has been a very, very long show, but we're going to try and squeeze in some more from the list of questions. Get in touch on Blue Sky at Blue Moon Podcast. Email us contact@bluemoonpodcast.com, and you can find us on Instagram as well. Just search for Blue Moon Podcast there. John on the email says, what would the arrival of Antoine Semenyo, if it happens, mean for Oscar Bob, Semenyo and Omar Marmouche? Richard, we've already talked a little bit about excitement about a potential move for Semenyo. What impact does it have on the rest of the squad?
Well, Semenyo feels unlikely that he'll go anytime soon because of the contract that he signed in the summer, and that they didn't want to let him go when it seemed there's £70 million on the table, from, or maybe not quite on the table, but Spurs were maybe willing to go up to that. It seems, as a fan and as somebody with eyes who has watched Semenyo play football, feels absolutely mad, but you never know, maybe he will come good. He's not without good points, but his end product is woeful to a point that I wonder whether it can ever be good enough. And so I would not be too disappointed where he have to go. or were his game time to be minimised by Semenyo coming in? I think Marmoush, it feels early to have had him for a year and brought him in with the kind of record that he came in with, and he has had some good moments playing for us so far. But this feels like the rumours of him potentially going and like Egypt's coach weighing in with comments at AFCON feels like a bit of a no smoke without fire situation, and maybe City are ready to, I was going to say cut the losses. I don't even know how much loss there would be. You know, maybe there's, I'm sure he'll still command a really decent fee.
You say that, but there was a lot of noise around Nico Gonzalez leaving in the summer, and that was quite clearly bollocks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. But then did he have his international manager or other coaches talking about it? I don't know. Or did he have anybody coming in who was a direct replacement for him? Maybe not as much. I don't know. Marmoush feels like he could go to me. He's at a point in his career where he's gone from having a lot of game time. And like I said, the record that he came in with from Germany was outstanding, and he's now nowhere near that. Some of that because he's had injury, but it just doesn't feel the right fit to me. But then,
agreed.
How many attacking players go on to get better at City? But I'm just not sure we've seen the glimpses from him that show that that's going to happen for him. And then Oscar Bob, again, I would not be surprised if there's a decision there that he's not gonna make it at City. I think he's clearly a very talented player, and to have got the injury that he got at the time when he was clearly about to, or the intention was that he was going to play a lot more in the first team, and that path was opening up for a bit for him, is horrifically unlucky. And who knows how much of a sliding doors moment that has been for him. But I watch him, and I remember, I think I went quite early with this in the season. I think it was during the Huddersfield game. And I think again, in the WhatsApp group, said to you guys, am I being harsh, or is watching Oscar Bob a bit like Groundhog Day? Because it's always...
No, Groundhog Day.
I think you always
good.
know what you... It's a very good film. You know what you're going to get from him, and there's always going to be the beating players in the very sort of Instagram reelable moments, but then you get to the byline and it's not going to go anywhere, and it's a real shame. But I think I don't think
really
he's the
highlighted,
level. So.
And it's really highlighted by Ryan Cherky doing that, and then something happening at the end of it.
Yeah, and even Doku as well. His end product is getting better and better. So I think I don't expect Semenyo to go, and hopefully that means that he improves significantly whilst he's at City. I think Marmoush definitely could go, and I think Bob will go, because I think he probably needs to, and I think that's the right decision for everybody.
Yeah, and the other side of this, Dan, I guess with Bob is in terms of, I hate talking about it in terms of a financial point of view, but from City, he's a homegrown player. It's pure profit that City get from him when it comes to the books, and out of all of them, he's the one, I guess, who would go, look, I need to be playing, ASAP. So I know he's injured at the moment, so that's kind of putting a bit of a dampener on it. But if there's an offer for him from a Premier League club, it's kind of like, for him, it feels like a no-brainer as well.
Yeah, I like the idea of maybe a loan or maybe even a sale with a buyback clause or something like that, just in case he does go on to fill that potential. But yeah, I completely agree with Richard, just not really seeing it from him at the moment. And, he's 22. It's not like he's 17, 18, and it's sort of at that point now where it's like he needs to be playing more regularly, and he needs to be contributing more to be able to play for City, really. So yeah, I think it's, of those three, he's kind of the easiest one to let go, and the one that isn't having a great deal of impact at all, which is a shame, because we'll always have that moment of that goal at Newcastle, and we'll always have, even I remember after the Wolves game at the start of the season, we were talking about him, being like a new signing, and he played really well, and we were sort of comparing him on the podcast to David Silva and stuff like that, and he's just not really kicked on from there, unfortunately.
So it turns out Wolves were the problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, I'd be curious to see if he went to someone like Dortmund, whether he would really go on to flourish, because not to be too harsh, but you look at sort of James McAtee sat on the bench for Forest, and City don't get a lot of these wrong, do they, when they let players go?
Yeah. Let's finish with this from Dan on Instagram, who says, since it's the final show of 2025, could you dish out some end-of-year awards, please? So I've come up with some categories to see what we've got. We're going to start with Best Goal of 2025. The nominees for this one are Omar Mamouche against Bournemouth. And that's it. Because, I mean, Dan, I couldn't think of anything else.
I've got a couple to throw in. So Gundogan at Fulham on the last day of last season.
Nice goal.
That was a nice goal.
Not better than Marmouche's though. So
well. I don't know. The thing about that Marmouche one is I've got a bit of a downer on Marmouche in general, right? But he does about 4 of those a game, and that one just happened to fly into the top corner. Most of them just fly into Rose Ed or something. He's always just shooting, isn't he? Like,
doesn't stop it being a good goal. Though.
It's a good goal. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So was Semenyo's against Juventus at the Club World Cup. By the way, that was a good goal. Yeah. And I'm going to throw in Foden versus I forget. Was it Sunderland when Cherky did the Rabona? Yeah. That's a great goal.
Yeah. Still, Marmouche is the best though, Richard. Surely.
I'll give it to Marmouche. I mean, defenders give him far too much time, plenty of time to pick his spot. But given that he picked it from about 30 yards, I think that's fair enough.
And the rest. I mean, it's like 40 yards out. And I remember in the ground going, why is he hitting this from here? What a stupid decision this is.
It was one of those where it's kind of one of the joys of going to live football is seeing those moments. So I am joking about how much time he was given. It was an absolutely outstanding goal. I'm happy for him to take the award.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is Best Youngster of 2025. The nominees for this one, again, only one of them, Nico O'Reilly. Richard, I can't think of anybody else who's had a bigger impact.
No, he's been absolutely outstanding, hasn't he? Just what a player. We've looked like we've cured our left back issues. We signed a very expensive left back in the summer who is being kept out by Nico O'Reilly. So just outstanding. He's not even a left back by trade. He's probably England's left back for the World Cup. Just magnificent. What a player. Looks like he's been there 10 years or more.
Mm-hmm. Dan, I'm going to have to come to you on this one because it feels I can't get Richard's opinion on this one. Hairstyle of the year. The nominees for this one are simply Mateo Kovacic.
Well, I'm going to throw in support of the likes of Richard, Gianluigi Donnarumma, because he's balding gracefully, I would say. You know, he's not gone to Turkey and got a hair dry, or disgracefully, you might say. But I like the fact that he's not, done anything about that bird's nest that's growing with every passing game on the back of his head.
Yeah, Richard, you look offended and desperate to come in.
Well, I mean, the Kovacic one, my first thought was very No Country for Old Men. But on the point about not seeking my opinion, I will quote what Gerard Houllier once said when he was asked about being a top-level manager without being a player. You don't have to have been a horse to be a jockey, do you? I can have my opinions.
Next award is Butterfly Effect Moment of the Year. And again, one nominee, Dan and Richard, because Abdulkadir Kusanov getting booked at Bournemouth in the Cup. And the result of that was Guardiola subbed him off for Nico O'Reilly. That is the moment that changed everything for City this year.
Yeah, true. I was actually just thinking when Richard was talking about O'Reilly as well there, about, was it against Spurs when Ant Waterson got injured? And has sort of never got back into the team since. You kind of wonder what the season would have looked like and what the kind of the thinking around O'Reilly would have been had that not happened. I'd imagine Ant Waterson was signed to play a lot in the summer. Maybe we'd be looking at sort of O'Reilly as someone who would have to go out on loan because he wasn't playing at this point. So that's been a bit of a sliding doors moment. And I was also thinking of the defeat at Arsenal last season, the 5-1 defeat, because I think that was, maybe it wasn't completely like this, but they signed Nico Gonzalez like the day after, didn't they? And it felt like that defeat was like, okay, we've got to make a signing here. And he's been pretty useful this season. So I think maybe that was pretty impactful as well.
That was like when they signed Ali Benarbia after losing 4-0 at West Brom in the Keegan days. Yeah. Strangest sub of the year for this one, Richard. I've nominated Claudio Echeverri for Semenyo on 76 minutes in the cup final because why not give somebody a debut in the cup final when you're desperately chasing a game that's 1-0?
Just absolutely mad. Everybody around me at Wembley was just absolutely baffled, and the guy next to me just said he's crackers, isn't he? And we know that, and so often he makes strange decisions that are justified and validated that never really looked like being one of them. I well recall that I think it was in the lead up to that game or in the week to that game. I'd been listening to you and Sam Lee talk about Echeverry, and Sam had said something along the lines of,
he's never going to play for
maybe
City.
This is one of those where I'm wrong, but from everything that I hear, he's never going to play. And then he comes on it's a Challenger Cup final, which he didn't do. Yeah, absolutely crackers. And maybe
as
we'll
mad
go
as
down
that
as
was,
one of
though, it kind of reminds me of we did a live podcast years ago with Nader Manua, and he was going in 2-footed on Stuart Pearce about how ridiculous it was that he put David James up front that time and how the players lost all respect for him and all that. And I remember saying to him, "Did nearly work though." And Echeverry did nearly work. He did nearly score.
Yeah, he missed a chance at the death, didn't he?
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. The next award, this one was suggested by Richard, so thank you very much for this one. 0-0 of the year. The nominees for this one, we've got Manchester United away in April and Southampton away in May of this year. Both of them are they're the only 2 0-0s that City have had, Dan. I'm going to let you have the deciding vote because I know Richard wants it to go to the Old Trafford debacle, but Southampton away was the point at which that Southampton avoided being the worst team in Premier League history.
Fair play, yeah. And we very nearly cocked up top 4 that day as well, didn't we? Which would have been pretty kind of fitting for the way the season had gone. But yeah, that one at Old Trafford is probably one of the worst games of football I think I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm going to vote for that one.
Okay, so that's the winner. Most improved player of the year. The players I've nominated for this one, Richard, Matthias Nunes, Phil Foden and Jeremy Doku. Foden in there because obviously he struggled a lot last season. You look at the impact he's had this season so far. Doku has, he keeps putting it down to God, but it could be that he's just improved and Guardiola has helped along the way with that. But we can't discount the work of the Lord in that. And Matthias Nunes is a player that has been written off at City, and here he is holding down the right back slot. So, is there anybody else that I've missed, or are they the correct 3 to nominate for this, and who should get it?
I think they're the right 3. I think Foden is absolutely justified, but I think he's been Player of the Year before, and he's been the reason that we've won. He's been the standout player in a title-winning season before. So, although I think season by season it's a fair shout to put him in there, his ceiling is, we know how high his level is, and he's maybe not yet back to that very, very best. So I don't know that there's something about that says I can't quite have him as most improved, but it makes me so happy to see that he's enjoying his football again and that he's at something close to his best. Doku, listen, faith does amazing things for people, and yeah, I'm glad that it's working for him. And long may that continue to be the case. He seems happy. He's playing well. And again, I think he's been a very frustrating player for a lot of his time at City, but he's always been entertaining. And he continues to be entertaining. And the fact that he's adding some end product to that, and maybe a few more skills to his game, and a bit more, he's become a bit more sensible with some of his play as well. It makes him a very worthy nominee. But for me, the most improved is Nunes, because he's the one where I think there was the least suggestion that this was in there. I think it's funny, but it's pretty devastating that Pep has publicly said he's not clever enough to be a midfielder, a player who was signed as a midfielder because we didn't get Paquetá. There was no sign that he was ever coming in to be a utility player or coming as a right back. We forked out a lot of money for him. Just after we were ready to fork out a lot of money for a very different player. So he's been a bit of a laughing stock in a way that the others haven't. And now you hear the fans chanting his name, and that's it's really nice. And I'm not convinced that he's suddenly a world-class right back. I think there's still a mistake in there from time to time. But he reads the game brilliantly, and now I don't worry when he's there, which might sound like damning with faint praise, but I did used to worry that he was there, and I think justifiably. And now he looks like part of the team, and a very trusted part of the team, and that's a really great thing. And again, I'm very happy for him. So
he's taking,
I'll give it to Nunes.
Yeah. The final award then is the Best Newcomer Award, Dan. And I'm nominating everybody that City have signed this year. So Abdulkadir Kusanov, Vitor Rice, Omar Marmoush, Nico Gonzalez, Ryan Aitnori, Ryan Cherky, Tijani Reinders, James Trafford, Gianluigi Donnarumma. Who's it going to?
It's Cherky for me. Quite an easy decision, I think. Just the impact that he's had. I mean, what is he, the most creative player in Europe at the moment? And I love the fact that there's all this kind of like debate about him versus Florian Wirtz at the moment, and I'm seeing Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, Wirtz is doing a lot of stuff that aren't sort of captured by the stats." And if you watch the game, he's having more of an impact. I like that Cherky's just said bollocks to all that. Like, give me the ball.
I'm going to juggle the ball over here and then flick it over somebody's head, and everyone's going to get off the seats, and then we're going to score from it. So
yeah, give me the ball. I'm going to create a chance. I'm going to score a goal. I'm going to entertain. And what I like about him as well is he seems like he's settled in really nicely with the squad. Everyone seems to like him. They seem to have a laugh with him. He's someone who doesn't take himself too seriously. And when Haaland's taking pictures of him and putting it on Instagram and stuff, he seems to be sort of in on the joke and doesn't have a massive ego, which was kind of something that, knowing not very much about him when he came in, that I worried about a little bit, that he wouldn't kind of vibe with the squad. So I think he's been an absolute revelation, and still so young as well. Still so much fun to be had with him, I think.
Yeah, so Ryan Cherky, the winner of the Blue Moon Podcast Best Newcomer Award. That is it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you very much to my guests for this one, Dan Burke.
Thank you.
And Richard Burns.
Thank you very much.
And that is it for 2025 on the podcast as well. Have a happy new year, everybody. And don't forget, we'll be back to our usual Thursday evening or Friday morning slot from next week onwards. That also means the bonus episodes for Patreon members will be back from next week as well. I'll be back after the Brighton game, so see you then.
That was the Blue Moon Podcast. Please give the show a rating and a review where you can. And don't forget, you can listen without the ads by signing up to our Patreon at patreon.com/Blue Moon Podcast. And join us again next time for another episode.